You're welcome to the Gavel. I am Omelogo Nnadi. In about 8 months' time, February to be exact, Nigeria will be holding its general elections. There is a lot at stake at these elections. Many Nigerians would want to see continuity in a smooth transition from one civilian administration to another. Preparations have begun for the election. Independent body INEC has been conducting continuous voters registration exercise to enable eligible voters register properly. But there have been concerns raised about INEC's preparedness for the election. The House of Representatives during the week brought together INEC, civil society groups and concerned Nigerians to talk about how best to prepare for the 2015 elections. This national dialogue, organized by the House Committee on Reform of Government Institutions, was aimed at bringing together civil society groups, political party chairmen, analysts and the general public to brainstorm on ways to ensure transparent, credible and fair general elections in 2015. Lawmakers say there is still a lot of work to be done towards a free and fair elections, and to that end urged the election umpire to ensure they did not succumb to any external influences.
Although INEC, under the leadership of Professor Atairu Jega, has recorded remarkable successes in the handling of elections in Nigeria, there is still room for improvement. For instance, the budget for 2011 general election was acknowledged to be adequate. The introduction of direct data capturing machine for voters register, update of eligible voters, timely release of election timetable, recruitment and training of agro staff, government pledge to provide level playing field for contestants remain some of these achievements by INEC. The issue of transparency in the conduct of elections without fear or favor, by not succumbing to any external influence or dictatorship, security of election result at all levels, returning and declaring the winners by respecting the choice of the people, issues of electronic rigging, snatching of ballot boxes and papers, timely disposal of election cases, etc. On the part of the National Assembly, the House of Representatives in particular, we wish to assure INEC, the Nigerian people and the world at large of our preparedness to provide the necessary legislative platform to ensure free, fair, credible, and transparent elections in our dear country, Nigeria, come 2015.
The House Committee on Reform of Government Institutions has a part of its jurisdiction the duty of ensuring good governance through critical legislative impetus of providing a veritable platform for public institutions to proactively disclose information on the compliance with the Freedom of Information Act.
Professor Jega said the Commission is set to address numerous challenges it is facing, but he said this will be difficult without adequate funding.
We got a lot of money, which was very good, and it helped us to do the 2011 elections. But in 2012, the funding declined. In 2013, the funding further declined. And as I speak with you, there is a huge funding gap between what we believe is required to be able to do the 2015 elections and what has been appropriated. But as I have said, given the fact that in the past, both the Executive and the National Assembly worked together and provided what we needed to do the election, we believe that will happen. But I cannot sit here and lie. As I speak with you, there is a funding gap. But I know that both Mr. President and the leadership of the National Assembly are doing their best to see how that funding gap can be immediately addressed. But if you ask challenges, I have to mention it as a challenge, even though I know all hands are on deck trying to solve that problem.
Several suggestions have been made on the conduct of the 2015 elections, such as INEC's provision for registration and voting for persons living with disability, information and record management system, security, as well as the conduct of elections in Borno, Adamawa and Yobe states. These are questions yet to be answered. Nigeria has been battling terrorism and insurgency in the last 3 years, and some would even say this has been going on for much longer. A federal lawmaker in the House of Representatives, Honorable Nena Elendu Keje, spoke with us on some strategies we should adopt to win the war on terrorism.
Borders in Africa are not very clearly defined borders. And to that end, it's very easy for there to be, and of course, judging as well from proliferation of small arms and light weapons and everything in between, you find that there's so much movement between countries. And so I felt it was necessary, and I still feel it is necessary, that in the fight against terrorism and migration and movement of people, illegal movement of people, that there is need for the Nigerian government to collaborate and Nigerian agencies to collaborate with their sister agencies in all these countries. Of course, I went further at that meeting to speak about border town administrations, so that the borders, because everybody speaks about porous borders, everybody speaks about the fact that our borders are not properly manned, the fact that we have so many illegal borders. And I felt that it was necessary for Nigeria not to look at insurgency, Boko Haram, terrorism, and the movement of these girls as a purely Nigerian issue, but to actually start to look at it as a trans-border crime that has, of course, the only reason why Boko Haram is continuing to flourish is because there is the possibility that they have countries where they can get away to, they have escape routes and so on and so forth. And I felt it was necessary for all the countries to collaborate.
Now, there are some countries that are not necessarily in a very cordial relationships with Nigeria. What happens to such countries?
Well, Nigeria has cordial relationships with most of her neighbors. But the neighbors, but everybody has complained about the fact, and I've read and I've heard that Nigeria does not have very good relations with Cameroon. But I think that Mr. President, and indeed all the countries that border Nigeria, had a meeting in Paris. And I think that meeting, and I know that meeting was meant to address the sticky issues and work out modalities where Nigeria could actually work with those countries.